what would you like to do? Here are values. So here are various. This is jQuery UI, and these are various widgets for it. What we could do, if you liked, is that we could try to use some of these widgets and try to do some work using those. Okay. Do you have any AJAX that you want to put in your own application, actually, so that I can take questions and try to reply to how I would do that, and maybe we can discuss it all together? Is there any one of you that is trying to do solve some problems with AJAX? Okay.
Maybe, I'm not sure which implementation we would go with, because I'm looking into WebSockets too. But ours right now is an online drawing tool. So you draw something, it AJAXes it to the server, and then other users are on like a 2-second queue, and every 2 seconds they get an AJAX request from the server to get the latest drawings.
I see. I see. Okay, so more and more of you are asking me. So I actually don't know how to use channels. Okay, I probably should learn how to use the channels. But channels would be the solution for you to get a live stream of updates. And they should not be difficult to use, but I have never done it. So let me get some information for next week, okay, on how to do that. Yeah. Essentially, what you do is it's as if you open a connection that never finishes loading, but you parse it on the fly. And so, for example, on Google App Engine, there is a channels API that is documented, and there is a way essentially for the server to keep a channel open, and then you have to keep a reference to the channel, and then you have to say, put this stuff into this channel. No? And on the client side, there is some API that enables you to say, when to the JavaScript, when the next piece of stuff comes and is parsed, this function is called, and then you decide what to do with what is passed to you. Okay, this is at high level how it works, but I cannot give you a code sample because I don't have a code sample, I guess. So I'll look around for code samples and make one of them work. Okay, but I don't know how to best advise you. Okay, other questions? I mean, I want to pick one of these problems one of these things to try to play with it. So, for example, one thing we could do is this. We could make a sortable, and we could make sure that every time you sort something, we send an AJAX message to the server giving it the new order. This would be one example that comes to my mind. Any other wishes instead of this one?
I wasn't here in last class, but maybe like a search. So like you start typing.
Yes. Actually, that's a really good example. Yes, let's build one on the fly. I hope I can finish it. Otherwise, I may finish it next time. But we will. Okay, so let me start Web2Py very quickly. Actually, I did something slightly silly. Let me start Web2Py, but from here. I should leave open these. I do this in this way simply because in this way I get the logs. Okay, it's identical to the other way of starting it, but this way I get the logs. Should I want to use them? So, and because I want to be fast, okay, here I have already these CMPS 183 friends, and I want to use this because it contains what I need in order to do logging. Okay, so I just it's just my trick to be super fast in starting the development. Okay, so this is it, in fact. Okay, I'm already in the right directory, and I'm just gonna build a new controller, I guess. so that we can play with it this time. So new file, and I call it complete.py. Okay. Yeah. We should donate to the developer, and we will eventually. Okay. So let me import JSON there. Okay, and the def, I don't know, my page, return dict. Okay, so I don't do anything for the moment. And then in the view, I can do here, so a new folder. New file. Yes, sorry. What? Okay, fine. Now I have this page here, so I just want to copy this. Okay, so what am I doing? Sort of a H1, my order. Okay, so sometimes my brain goes to sleep. So imagine that we want to order food, okay, but the list of food is held on the server. Okay, so now let's go look at this auto completion thing. So there is the autocomplete, okay, and we can do it with a remote data source. This is what we need. Okay, so we can view the source, and we can essentially grab some of these and put it directly in the page. So let's see which one of these we need. So this script here, okay, goes into the head, okay, and contains the main code that we need. So let's look at it and comment on it. I can do, if I want something to go in the head, I can say block head end. Okay, and what I'm gonna go here, because it will go into the header of the page. Okay, so this is a script that I copied without looking at. So let's look at it. It says the following. This is a function that logs, and I think it's not useful for us. I mean, I want to have the minimal amount. This takes an autocomplete that has name as bird, but we want to say like input food. Okay, it will take the element input food, and it will make sure that it autocompletes. This is the source. Okay, so this is the source URL for the autocomplete. Of course, I don't want this PHP server. I want our own method. Okay, so as a source, I will do this. Notice. Maybe this is not the best possible way of doing it. You know, I would have wanted to define the URL in some other way, but in this case, I'm going to be sloppy and I'm going to plug the URL directly in the code. So I directly created the URL that goes to the controller, how did I call it, complete. And the function for complete will tell me, I will call it suggest, okay? So just to give it an obvious name, okay? So this is the URL that will be used in the autocompletion, okay? The minimum length of the URL is 2, and then this is a function when you select the item, okay? And I don't think we need anything there, actually. This is my guess. I think we can just delete these. Because I think all this does is cause, it's causing something to appear in another div. But I don't care about that. I just want to have the suggestions so that you can complete them directly in that div. So let me just minimize the amount of code in that way. Now, here I have to say my order, and if I go back to the web page, you know, I can copy these. I don't know really what I'm doing here, but I first copy and then I will look at it again. So this is my input, okay? And I didn't call it birds, but I called it input food. Okay. And this div here is where the result is put, but we don't care about that. We just want to do the div that the input that auto completes. Okay, so we just want to do this, I guess. So this is a sort of minimum unit. And I think that in the layout.html, I have already uncommented the stuff in UI in jQuery for jQuery UI. But if you haven't, you can check here under static. There is no, sorry, where is it? It's under views. Layout HTML. You have to uncomment the lines that load jQuery UI. I think these are the lines, so they're already uncommented, but otherwise you need to check that you have done that. Otherwise you're not loading the definition for that, okay? So now I think what I've done is sufficient. So let's try it. This is called complete slash my page. So I should be able to go here. This might give me an error, okay? No, it does not, but so. Okay, it just says birds, which is kind of silly, okay? What would you like to eat? Okay, just to make it a bit more, okay, but this should work already, actually. Meaning that if I do inspect element, it might be the fastest example in history if it works, yes?
Did you make the suggest method?
No, but look at it a moment. It's I think we can still play with it a moment. Because if I inspect the element, this brings up a new page, okay? Let me increase the font a little bit, okay? But if I go in the network tab and I look at the XSI requests, first, before I make the method, I want to see, do I even call it, right? So, and I want to eat pizza, of course. So I write PI, haha, you see? It's calling it. This is absolutely great. It's called in CMPS friends complete with the page suggest term is equal to PI. Why does it? I don't know why it breaks it up in this way, but this is exactly perfectly what I want. Okay, so now to make my my method that suggests, I do this because I want to check one piece at a time. I don't wanted to check that this works before I actually write. Sorry, I'm going around in loops, as you can see. Before I can write the page. Okay, my page is fine. And now we need def suggest. Okay, so not another thing, not that I make an exception to what I told you. I'm not using assigned URL. Okay, I told you that for AJAX it's better to use assigned URLs, but this has no side effects and is not leaking out any personal information. If I were to suggest to autocomplete some of your friends, for instance, then I would expect you to be logged in and the URL to be signed. But in this case, there is really no reason to sign it. So here I would have to implement it with a database table, of course, right? But I don't have a database table and I want to be super fast. So I will simply say that foods is an array in which we put some foods to experiment, okay? Like pasta, pizza, like pastry, and then there is provolone, which is a cheese, then there is a soup, and then there is sausage, and then there is salami, and then there is sauerkraut. fairly eclectic, right? But I think it will be enough. And so if we suggest well, how do I write this code? T is equal to request vars term, because the term is where the request is put. Okay, so let me be super fast. If this is a query, the terms are what? S for S in foods, if S dot starts with, there is a starts with in Python, or am I confusing with Java? No, come on, it must exist, starts with. No? There is something like that that exists. No, in this case, don't say. Starts with, yeah. Okay, so this is super fast. Okay, and return response.json of T. Okay, will this work? I have no idea, but I think it might, because I think what I have to return is a list of words. So these might work. And I was not entirely crazy when I chose these words, but I wanted to have both, pizza, pasta, and pastry start with PA so that we can play with it. So that's why I have such an eclectic food list. Okay, so now I can continue. Did I save my code? Yes, I did. So now I can say P A ta-da, and it works. Okay. And this is sort of the shortest possible implementation, but you can see that instead of starts with, I can use contains, no? And maybe that would be a little bit better, because so if you, but at this point, once it works, you can do what you want. Does it contains exist? No. Sorry? Maybe it's find, no?
Yeah.
No, because it returns -1 on failure, and I wanted to return false on failure. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit annoying, but I mean, at this point, you can fix your code. I mean, it's not just that I wanted to write a complete one-liner, right? Notice that I could have written it in one line had I wanted, actually. So, yeah. Okay, yeah, this gives you a super simple example. So, but I think it gives you the general way in which you add a lot of these things to jQuery using jQuery UI, right? You look for the example you need. You take the snippet of code that you want, you adapt it to the setting, and then you just build the JSON methods you need after checking that they actually get called, okay? So if you want, it would be a really good exercise, since you are all working on projects, that you prepare some questions for me to work on in the next classes. Maybe you can even tell me in advance if you want to be kind, but otherwise it's fine, I mean, you're kind in two different ways. If you tell me in advance, I can prepare. But if you don't tell me in advance, I have more excuses for not being able to do it. So it's your choice. And and I can try to make these things work, and it's the best way to learn together to do this type of things. So I'll post these in the code, okay? Okay.
Okay, question.
Yeah. Maybe let me just stop the Hangout.
Okay.
I think it's here. No, it's here.